I cannot. So what happened? What had happened was, it was my aunt and uncle's 25th anniversary, and so I don't know why I'm talking about this because it happened like forever ago, but like my cousin and I kind of had a little bit of a power struggle whenever we were kind of like doing this party,
Okay.
and it's weird because like she's like our aunt, but like no one had like jurisdiction over this aunt. Like she wasn't like not one of us was like closer to her than the other, but
So
like
you weren't trying to prove that you were the favorite.
no. Like she's my aunt. She was my favorite aunt. Like, do you ever? Everyone has their favorite aunt.
Sure, but I'll never tell.
I mean, I will tell. Like, it's my aunt Helen, my aunt Louise. Like, hands down, easily. But no, but so we were having meetings, and my aunt had said, "I really want your grandfather to say the prayer." Because he had said the prayer at their original wedding, or the original wedding.
Cute.
I was like, wonderful, like it's a way to like bring everyone back in.
Yeah.
Well, so we're setting up, and like it's in the middle of nowhere, Texas, like the absolute middle of nowhere, Texas. It's in this sad little Hilton Garden Inn. I mean, it was.
Call it
They
out.
like preset dessert, like it was the weirdest thing. Like it was
weird.
just it. Who wants to see dessert before you get like your like salad? Like I don't want to look at. I don't know. It was just weird, but whatever. Roll with the punches. It's fine. So like we're decorating, we're doing the things. Like it's finished. People are showing up, and I'm like my grandparents aren't here. Like where are you people? My grandfather goes. He sends me a text message. He's like your grandmother won't come out of the room. I'm like, what did you do? Like,
was it because of the preset dessert?
Probably, but but I was like, what did you do? So I go over there, and I was like, Grandma, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? I'm not coming. I don't know. She ends up coming out. So my aunt or my cousin is texting me, and she's like, we need to get things started. Like, people are getting antsy, and I will never forget this. I literally replied, I was like, let them wait. Like, it is fine.
Yeah.
We're completely fine on time. Like, let them wait. So Grandma comes out, we get in the car, we're driving, and I hear my cousin like starting, and she's like, well, I'm gonna take it, or I'm gonna get started, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, my God, I'm like telling my grandfather, like, get out of the car, like, just go. He's like, let me help your grandmother out. I was like, I got her, you go. And so get my grandmother in, and we're walking in, and my grandfather, as we're walking in, he's already up at the stage, takes the mic from her, swipes it from her hand, and says, I'll take it from here. It was
Go, Grandpa.
fabulous. Like, I cannot. And I don't know why it's such like a power struggle.
Because it's family.
Do you have any like one that you have like power struggles with on parties with your family?
Ooh. I don't know that I necessarily do, but there are definite power struggles in my family when it comes to family parties. Absolutely. My extended family, I can see it. It happens. Somebody wants a party at their house. Somebody else doesn't want it there. Yeah. Family drama and parties can definitely get a little...
Weddings and funerals are what bring out the crazy in people.
Oh, absolutely.
Hi, party animals. Party on Miranda.
Party on Ryan.
Today we are talking about the unspoken drama of doing events with family. What do you think about that?
Ooh, family drama and events.
Always power struggle.
Uh-huh.
It's always someone has an opinion about something. If you're engaged, I can't tell you how many tias I've had that like start like spouting out advice. Same thing goes for if you're having a baby. Everyone feels the need to give their opinion.
Everybody has an opinion.
An opinion in a podcast. It's just my aunts just need one.
Sure.
Well, they probably never mind. They don't need to have that. We don't need to give them a mic.
Mic.
No. We don't need to give them a mic. So why does it to you feel different planning an event with a family member versus a friend?
I think because there's so much history, right? There's so much history. There's sometimes baggage. There's, with a sibling, for instance, like I know them from their birth, and so there's these pent up feelings of who's in charge and who's really the alpha, and it
that one was.
I know.
Go for the jugular. It hasn't even been a minute yet.
Listen, I'm diving right into family drama. No, I think there's just a lot of history there, and you know what they're capable of, you know what you're capable of, and
I'm more capable than they are,
you
but
know the pros and cons.
mm. So there's also a generational divide whenever it comes to planning events. You have
Right.
an older generation, you have a younger generation trying to do things that the difference between tradition and trendy. I just came up
Mm,
with that. That's brilliant.
that's an episode in and of itself.
No, no kidding. I think that so. This is a thing that I have. I remember from a bride from a long, long time ago, and we were kind of chit chatting about like why we do certain things, like why do we have a cake cutting, or why do we have a first dance, or why do we have like some people do like money dances, some people do like there was one tradition I don't know what culture it was, but the bride would hold her dress out and people would throw things into it and it was supposed to like be like good luck for like fertility or something
Hmm.
like that, and so
Okay.
she was like having people throw things in her dress and she's like, I'm fertile now, thank you so much. Like it, but look, why do we do things? And the story that I always enjoy is a newlywed couple gets at home, it's their first time, making dinner, and she's, making like, I don't know, a ham or something, and chops off the ends, puts it in the thing, and the husband goes, well, why'd you chop off the ends? I don't know, my mom cooks it that way.
Hmm.
Well, let's go to your mother. And then you go to your mother and, Mom, how do you make a ham? Well, you chop the two things, put it in the thing, and, on your way. Well, why do you cut off the ends? I don't know. My mother did it. Okay, well, let's go see grandma. So you go to your grandmother, chop off the ends. Grandma, why do you do it that way? She goes, well, that's the only way it would fit in the pot. Like that's the thing that you need to recognize is why are we doing certain things? Why are we continuing the generational party trauma? Why are we doing the things we don't need to be doing anymore?
I think that works in good and bad, right? Like family traditions are really born out of something like that. In my family, we have a tradition of birthday cereal. And so for your birthday, you would get to go to the store and you could pick out any cereal that you wanted to. And as I grew up and realized, like, was talking to my mom about this as I started doing it with my kids, she said the reason that they did that is I grew up, we were super poor. And we couldn't afford like the sugary cereals all the time, right? Or the fun cereals or the cereals that kids wanted.
It was the little
It was a
luxury.
little luxury that became this family tradition that I cherish and love so much. And even though my 6 year old gets whatever cereal he wants on any given day of the week, I still make it a big deal when we go to the store around his birthday
To pick up
to
the
pick out birthday
birthday
cereal,
cereal.
right?
You
So,
know, like what my family does for Christmas?
well,
We yell and scream at each other. Like
yeah,
that's
that happens too.
like, I want that. I want white people things.
Oh, white people.
Like I love traditions like that. And like come to think of it, I don't think my family has any traditions like that.
No,
No.
just
I
the
would
one
love
thing.
a cereal tradition.
My mom is the queen of the little moments
Mm.
and finding ways to celebrate. And a lot of it were things like the birthday cereal born out of necessity, right? But it didn't matter whether we had money or not. She was going to make sure that we felt special and that we felt loved and taken care of on our birthdays or
And
whatever
that's a
the
great
situation
way
was.
to do that even if you have $3.
Yeah.
Completely brilliant.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, the only thing I can kind of think of, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily tradition so much as it is like a ritual. There are certain times where, you get in your habits of things. I remember whenever my mom was getting a divorce to her second husband with my two brothers and my sister. It was very like traumatic for her to like go and drop off the kids, and I'm sure if you're listening to this you have had someone experience this, or you
It's
know
hard.
split families, like it
Yeah.
just kind of happens. And so I remember, this is really funny, well, she's not going to kill me, but whatever. There was one time where it was the first time to go drop off the kids with their dad for the weekend, and I think I was already in high school, and so you're dropping off the kids halfway at a McDonald's parking lot or whatever. This one I think was an Outback, and drop off the kids. And I remember my mom was like crying, like ridiculously. And she was like, I'm like, Mom, like, you're like really like smart. Like, why are you crying? And she's like, if I'm so smart, why did I marry him? Like, it was just too funny. But so naturally, whenever you have these things, it becomes a little bit easier and you use a distraction. So one of the things that my mom and I did was we would go drop off the kids halfway between houses. We would go back home. We went to this thing called Blockbuster. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it used to
Ooh,
be able,
back in the day.
and because they go for the weekend, they leave on Friday after school, come back Sunday night. My mom and I would didn't have money because she was going through a divorce, and
Right?
that's where the money goes. So we went to Blockbuster. She picked out a movie. I picked out a movie. We picked out a movie together,
I love this.
and we went to Taco Bell. Swear to God. And that was back then whenever Taco Bell was like $5. We went to Taco Bell like a week ago and it was like $87.
It's
I was like,
amazing how much money you can spend at Taco Bell.
she found a receipt and the tacos were like 59 cents.
Yeah,
Name
not
one
anymore.
thing you can get for
No.
59 cents. But so we did have it wasn't a tradition, but we had a ritual of dropping off the kids, going to Blockbuster, going to Taco Bell, going home. We watched our movie together, and then the next day we like did our own thing and watched our own individual movies. And so, but that was like our tradition. That was just kind of like our way to like just like get through it because it's difficult like whenever you're having like a life change like that.
It is, absolutely. And it's those things that we create as family that become who we are and a piece of who we are and how we shape our own families and our own children. And sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's wrapped up in a little bit of drama.
I want a birthday cereal tradition. That's
You can start birthday cereal tradition now. You can do whatever you want to do.
Because I have adult money. Like
you are an adult. You can go to the store and buy yourself birthday cereal.
No, I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket to Paris. Is what I'm doing.
Well,
I don't need. I think I'm bigger than birthday cereal at this point.
I have birthday cereal money. I don't have Paris money, but you.
I have
you
Paris
go to
points.
Paris.
I have Paris points. So this is another thing. Going into parties with family, it can be reunions are a thing too. Do you do any like family reunions?
We did when I was a kid, but we haven't done family reunions in a long time.
My aunt, and again, we talked about this in like episode 1. You have to be the change. You have to decide to put these things on. They're not going to happen on their own. If they're not going to happen, you might as well be the one to like put this thing on.
Are you now telling me I have to host a family reunion?
No, I'm not giving you one more thing to do because that is enough. That is not happening anymore. But I remember my aunt. We had a lot of loss in a year span, and my aunt was like, "I want everyone to get together." 1 year after my cousin passed away, and then it became a thing, and then it kind of didn't anymore, and I wonder why that happened.
Life gets busy.
I guess.
Life gets busy. People move forward.
Well, and then it comes also to another thing is like if there's a wedding happening, who's paying for it? That can become a big decision factor.
Tricky. Absolutely.
Who's the real decision maker?
Is it the person paying for it or the person getting married?
Yeah.
Right? Ideally, as an event professional, my go-to is always, it is your wedding, you do what you want, not what somebody else is telling you to do. I also understand that if somebody else is paying for it.
Did I tell you about the skull on the cake?
You did. Tell
it again.
Yeah,
so
I want to hear about
there was a wedding that I was doing in Houston, and the bride loved Alexander McQueen. She loved skulls, and the mom did not. And this was like a gigantic topic of contention. Like the mom was like, no skulls anywhere. Like, I'm paying for this, absolutely not. And that's another thing. I think that because it depends on who's doing the party. I think it also is how young the couple is, because the younger the couple is, then the parents are paying for it, and then it's their friends and that little circle, and those friends outweigh the other. Anyways, so I remember this, like, it was like a 7-tiered cake. It was absolutely ridiculous, and the cake baker ended up piping skulls into the side of the cake.
I love it so
and
much.
It was like it was a white cake with black icing with the scrolls. And the mom was like furious whenever she found it. She's like, "You pulled a fast one on me." But that's the thing. I think that if you can, that makes it better. I love a hidden Mickey in something, like pulling a fast one on. I don't know.
I think it's a way to make it your own. I don't know. I talk to so many couples that are like, well, I really like this, or I really like that, or I really want a photo booth at my wedding, but my mom doesn't think it's a good idea. Like, it is your day. If you
Yeah,
want a
do what
photo
makes you
booth, get
happy.
a damn photo booth.
Well, I also think that it comes down to like food styles. Are we doing stations? Are we doing a buffet? Are we doing seated? Because like the mom could be like, I want everything seated. I
Right.
want this, and the bride can be like, I want a party. I don't want that. I want people up and around and moving. Like, there's different. What the hell is that word? There's different vibes that someone could want to go for that someone else doesn't want, and at what point does where does that line get blurred?
I don't know. I think at some point, especially as a younger couple, if your parents are paying for your wedding, like at some point there do get to be some compromises there. Um, but I think letting them make a few of the decisions that you are less passionate about,
Pick
right?
your battles.
Yeah, pick your battles.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I think with certain parties, it can be so let me put it to you this way. So I don't know why I keep going back to funerals, but it just it's a party that you're planning, I guess,
It
but it
is.
is what it is. But I had a conversation with a funeral director one time, and he was saying, he goes, whenever you plan a wedding, you make, I don't know if this is true, but it's like 456 decisions. And you have anywhere between 6 months to 24 months to make those decisions. When planning a funeral, you have 426 decisions to make, and you have 3 days to make those decisions.
Ooh, that
Like,
feels really overwhelming.
but think about it. If you have to make those decisions super quick, and you're fighting with your mother, or fighting with your aunt, fighting with people that I fought with my mother plenty of times, like outside of party planning, but
Plenty of times.
but no, but that's the thing is like you do have to pick and choose the things. Oof, I could get heated on this real quick.
Okay,
I'm
let's do
not.
it.
No, really?
Yeah.
No, I cannot. Fine, you pulled it out of me.
I worked really
You
hard.
worked
to
really
do
hard
that,
on that one.
yeah.
No, so I can't. I can't. Really?
I mean, I don't know how heated you want it to get, but this episode is about family
Family drama.
right?
So we want the family drama?
So let's talk about family drama.
Well,
That's the point. I mean, I don't know that we meant to make it a therapy session, but it can.
that's what these things are
absolutely be a
becoming.
therapy
Like, I don't
session.
understand it. Hold on. I need my emotional support Dr. Pepper. There's
My
Dr. Pepper in here.
emotional support beverage.
My emotional support Dr. Pepper. Well, okay, let's take it a step back. So let's reel that in because I don't want to tell that story just yet. But let's also talk about, like, for example, um, my mom had occasional boyfriends, and you go to family events and you bring the plus one. At what point do you keep the plus one in the photo?
Not until there is a ring on the finger.
That's your rule?
That is my rule.
Fiance and above.
Yep.
That
Everybody else out. I am fine taking a picture with them in it.
husband plus.
And then we take a picture without them.
Without.
Way?
Or stick them at the end.
Sure.
I've
But
done
it's
that
easy
before.
enough to take two different pictures, right? Everything's digital. Take two different pictures. You can display the one with them as long as the relationship lasts. And if that relationship ends, switch it out for the other.
Okay. Look at you.
I'm a problem solver.
I'm Miranda Stewart over here. Polite excommunication. No. No.
Whatever it takes.
Well, so totally did this with my little brother.
Yeah.
At my grandfather's 80th.
We'll see.
We put his little girlfriend at the time at the end.
Right at the end. You just crop her out.
Plus one.
But we did.
Plus one battles. Who do you bring for the plus one? What is the person going to think of? How is your family going to turn into a firing squad?
I mean,
is your family like that? If there's a new person?
No, not for the most part. My family's pretty.
Because you're white.
We're pretty welcoming and loving. I don't know if it has to do with the color of my skin or not.
It 100% does. My family will grill, fillet, saute, bake, broil, the whole nine.
No,
the whole nine.
My family is we're pretty welcoming to
no
a plus one.
No. not mine.
All right.
What are your intentions?
Why are you here?
Why
What
are
do you
you
want?
here? And the ants, the silent judging ones, those are the ones that you have to watch out for.
Oh, I didn't say I wouldn't sit and silently judge.
Oh,
but I'm not
so
going
it's
to be the
waspy. So
firing
it's waspy instead. I'm sorry, we're not going to be outward with our emotions.
Nope,
we're going to keep
absolutely
it
not.
in.
I'm going to keep it all inside.
Bring it down,
Yep.
all the way down
Let's
here.
not talk about that.
I see it. I see it.
It happens.
So what's really interesting is I remember like just kind of growing up, and you know, there's a wedding that you go to, because there's a million of them, but you go to a new wedding, someone brings a boyfriend, and then that was the whole conversation.
Right.
And did you see who brought and how they acted and what they wore and blah 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 blah. Ugh, the worst.
Yeah,
my family's the worst when it comes to that
I don't
stuff.
want anything to do with that, but
well,
I will sit and silently judge.
My Aunt Louise, my Aunt Helen, you'll be fine.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
I'll fit right in.
What about not inviting family members?
That gets, I don't know, that gets touchy.
I have no problems with this whatsoever.
Are we talking like general family party, or are we talking wedding?
Could be either. I don't care.
Because I think for a wedding, if you're paying for somebody to come to your wedding, because you are, right? There's a price per head, essentially, a price per person. If I'm not going to go out to dinner with that person and pay $100 for them to eat dinner,
I don't want to be introduced to anyone at my wedding.
No, I don't want new people.
No.
I do kind of feel bad for my husband. We had a small wedding, 100-ish people or so.
That's not small anymore.
That's a Utah standards.
Okay.
Utah, it was a small wedding. Utah is the state where everybody invites everybody they've ever known, right? And it's much more reception style. It's not necessarily a seated dinner or a buffet. It's very reception, open. So you
cake
invite...
and punch.
Yes, it's cake and punch. You invite 400 people, everybody you've ever known. So by Utah standards, our 100-person wedding was small.
Micro wedding.
Yes.
Yeah. Intimate.
He might have known 20 of them.
That's common, though.
I have a very big family. He does not. So most everybody that came were either mutual friends or family. And so I do feel he was introduced to a lot of people at our wedding.
I had a wedding that I was planning a long time ago, and the bride's mom photocopied the invitation and sent it out. Which I guess was the equivalent of a text message.
Sure.
Like invite back then. Like
text message.
It was. And people showed up with their photocopied Kinko's invitation to this wedding.
Know what to do with
and
this.
So, well, because we were planning it, I'm like, what do I do? Like, there's like, people showed up with coolers.
Coolers to a wedding?
Yeah. Someone had a Corona shirt. It was ghetto. Like, it was like, oh my God, how did this happen?
Yeah.
But by the end of the day, it was like the more the merrier. And so if the government can just get to the kitchen, rearrange some things, we can certainly party with the Haitians.
We can party with everybody.
Well, so that is like an extreme instance. And like, I think I've gotten to the point in my career, and I've said this before, anything that can possibly happen at a wedding has happened to me. Like, people showing up uninvited, that's the worst. I can't handle that.
Yeah, no, I think there's a list for a reason. There's invitations for a reason. Do not bring somebody if you were not given a +1.
This also thing comes down to keeping the peace and choosing your battles, and fine, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yes, I think that's a before the event kind of situation, right? Like, if somebody's like, I really want to bring somebody, then you can choose that battle, right? Yeah. I'm just saying, etiquette-wise, don't show up to a wedding with somebody.
No, absolutely not.
Unless you're in Utah and they've invited everybody. My mom has this great saying when it comes to parties.
Tell me.
All are welcome, none are obligated. And this has been...
That is such a mantra.
Oh, it is. It is the theme for all of our family parties.
That's the TikTok.
Yep. All are welcome, none are obligated. And so come if you want. Don't come if you don't want to. I'm not going to take offense to it. I'd love to have you, but if you're not here, you're not here.
You know, I appreciate that. I have an aunt that is not of alike political thinking.
I have a few of those.
Okay, so there was one time where my grandmother was like, "Hey, come to Thanksgiving, come to whatever," and I told my grandmother. Thank God my grandmother was so like understanding and recognizing that she did have crazy family members or whatever. But Aunt Dolores, this is to you. My I'm spilling it all the drama.
We are
This is
calling it all out
no,
in the
this is what
family
is
drama
happening.
episode.
I told my grandmother, I was like, if my Aunt Dolores says something stupid, I'm going to say something stupid back. And she goes, okay.
Well, there you go.
So I went, and no one said anything stupid, so I didn't have to say anything stupid. I think that's also just a thing that comes with age. You just don't put up with as much anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to put up with it.
I
just
can't.
don't.
I cannot put up with it anymore.
Yep.
Well,
if I'm going to go to a party, a family event, an activity, well, I don't want to be there if there's going to be drama. And luckily, I'm in a family where most of our gatherings are fairly drama free.
that's no fun. I
Listen,
know.
there's plenty of drama in extended family.
Okay.
My immediate family were pretty drama free. But I don't want to go. I don't want to be part of it. I'm past it.
I think that whenever it comes to family events, it's really about control. Who is the one that wants to say that they're at the wheel, say that they're taking the reins, saying that this is my show, whatever. And it also kind of goes back and forth. So with my cousin from earlier, whenever my cousin passed away, like a couple weeks after that, she was the cousin closest to him. So at that point, I recognize you're closest to him. I'm support. Whatever you need, I will help with.
Right.
So I think whenever like times get hard, like we understand kind of where things go with superfluous things, then I guess we'll fight over nothing. But whenever it comes down to what's actually happening with, so in the instance of like my cousin, like she took the reins. That was 100% her show. I'm not gonna step on your toes. Whatever you need, I will help with.
Yeah.
However, when Aunt Dolores, we're coming in hard on you today.
Coming on hot.
So whenever my grandmother passed away, everyone in my family does this thing where, okay, well, I'll tell everyone. And then you have people that like will, especially now that, there's like the internet, people will post the photos of where they were and, oh, I was here, whatever. Well, no one invited me. Oh, well, your mom didn't tell you, or your grandmother didn't, or your grandparent, no one told you, your sister didn't tell you? No one told me. So whenever my grandmother passed away, this was the thing that I told you that I wasn't going to talk about, and I am absolutely talking about it, and it was completely fine.
Let's do it.
So what ended up happening was my grandmother passes away. We were planning her funeral, and I was telling all of her family members, I was like, this time is when doors open. This time is when you can come visit. This time is when rosary starts. And so we were doing a viewing only for them, and that was it, because not everyone got a chance to say goodbye. So I was like, okay, I can completely get that, but whatever. So I went and I called all of her siblings in the order that they were born. I started with the oldest, went all the way down, because there are some people that will get offended if you told this person. And, oh yeah, absolutely. So I called everyone in birth order. And then by the time I got to my Aunt Dolores, I said, this is happening at 5, this is happening at 6, this is happening at 7. Okay, I'll tell everyone. No, Aunt Dolores. I will call everyone and I will let them know individually, because I want them to hear it from me. Because I don't want this no one told me argument, because I am done with that. So that's the thing that I think that my grandmother had to deal with, but I'm not putting up with. This is my show now. Like, that's another thing. It also becomes, when do parents and like the older generation stop running things, and when does the younger generation start running things? I think it's kind of, maybe it has to do with kids. I mean, whenever people start having kids is when they kind of have their own families and their own decisions and their own birthday cereal traditions. And
yeah, I think so. I saw that happen in both of like both sides of my family, my mom's family and my dad's family, as people grew up and like my aunts and my cousins started having kids. And so then there would be more their family party and the other family party, right? And then it becomes more of this juggling game of, okay, how do we get everybody
Sure.
together? And then for me and my family, I think it was when my grandparents passed away. Because there wasn't that cohesive unit, right? Now
Sure.
everybody had their own grandkids and they are then doing
their own family
parties,
things.
right?
I think that in that instance, maybe all the family holidays kind of stop, and maybe it's just like one thing in the summer that like everyone comes to. That
Back
could
to the family reunions.
Yeah, that could be. Who knew that that's where that came from? It's like I'm treating this as its own original idea.
Science.
I just thought of this for a party idea right now.
Right? We're throwing parties here.
That's another thing I think of whenever we're talking about like not like ostracized family members, but like the family member that's like, first of all, you can't eat at everybody's house. You cannot eat at everybody's house.
Nope.
There is the sister. She's bringing the paper plates, and you are on cup duty, ma'am. That is what you are doing. You are not in charge of potato salad.
Nope.
No.
It's that, or based on timing.
When you're showing up,
the people that are always late,
you can bring dessert.
They always get to bring dessert.
Interesting.
Yes.
You know, I think it's also important to give people that you. It's hard to give people that you don't like some sort of control, because people feel like they want to have control of something. So you kind of give them like a small decision or a little thing to kind of do or whatever. I would always get a kick out of the people that, okay, you have one job, and then they screw up that one thing that you gave them to do. Like, right. How could you mess?
You get to bring the paper products.
Well,
and then you don't.
You screwed up Jell-O. Like, yeah. How? Like, I asked you to bring Jell-O. Like, you could have bought that. Like, how did you mess that one up?
Yeah,
a fake decision to make. That happened in The Crown.
Fake decisions.
Yeah. So it was season 1, episode 6. No, it was like episode 2. No, it was episode 2 or 3, where. No, maybe it was 4. I don't know. Anyways.
It was one of them.
It was one of them. It was in the beginning. So Queen Elizabeth has already become queen. Her father's passed away, but we're waiting on her coronation.
Okay.
And so the Norfolks are the ones that handle the coronation. That's what they do. And Prince Philip effectively wanted to become chairman of her coronation. And the Queen Mother is like, well, can't you give him something else to do? And she's like, the chairmanship is what he wants. What else could he do? And she goes, arrange the photographer? Like, it's just such like a throwaway thing. Right. Like, that's maximum like, 2 phone calls. That's maximum 2 phone calls. Yep. I'll call you to book you,
a job.
And then what time to show up. That's it. Like, there's nothing more to do than that.
Oh, I like this idea of a fake assignment. I don't know. In my family, as much as in one of our other episodes, I've talked about how I like to be in control of the party. Mm. With family parties, I'm okay taking a step back, which is odd for me. I'm not typically the person that will take a step back. But in a family party, I don't want to do the drama. So I think I'm like, okay, you go tell me what time to be there and what to bring. That's very interesting that you bring that up, because I think I'm a different person whenever I'm around my in-laws. Which that's new for me. That you want me to relinquish control, but I think the thing is that my mother-in-law has catering equipment. So I don't... You don't have to do the thing. No. And I can request, like, hey, can we do this? And then it'll just show up. And 10 times more will show up. Nice. So whenever that side of the family is, like, cooking, I'm quite relieved that I don't have to worry about that part. And that is one thing that I will 100% relinquish control of, because the last thing I want to be doing is cooking for 100 people. Oh, yeah, no. No, I'm not going to do that. No. I'll buy something. Yeah. So this is kind of a little bit off topic, but I guess kind of on topic. How do you feel whenever a family member asks you as a vendor for things? Is this happening now? No, not today. Oh. No, Okay. Now it's time for me to get family drama. Not really. Not really. So I've been in business for 6 years.
Yes, really.
Right.
As if there's anything.
My
As if there's
emotional
vodka in
support
there.
beverage. It's just coffee, but it's emotional support.
No, seriously, I don't know how we go through a day without Dr. Pepper. It's probably bad, but whatever.
It's fine.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
I've been in business for over 6 years.
That's cute.
I know. You're 20-something years
I'm
in
over
business.
it. I'm over it.
Listen, I had a whole career before this, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
what did you do?
I worked in HR. I spent 25 years in HR.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
This.
Wow way.
This. I was the cool HR.
How are you 25 years in anything? Skincare. House labs.
So, in that time, I have maybe been hired by people in my family to do things 4, maybe 5 times.
Hired and paid?
Hired and paid.
Okay.
Yes. There's been multiple weddings. There's been multiple birthdays. There's been multiple children born. Nobody wants to pay me to do what I do.
Well, in reality, they can't afford it.
That's fair. The weddings, they could. It's fine. So, do they ask me to do things for free? Every once in a while. And I'm okay doing it.
Do you offer or no?
No.
Do you think... Oh, this is...
Listen,
I'm so glad this is your therapy session and not mine. Do they insinuate that they want you to offer?
No. So it's just as if my business doesn't exist to a lot of them, and it's fine. I was going to stay out of the drama.
You are not.
I am not now.
I'm dragging you into this.
No, there is one family party a year, like one extended family party a year that I am happy to set up a photo booth for, throw up a backdrop, do the things.
Sure.
Take some balloons.
Unattended, wonderful.
Great. Yes, unattended booth, whatever. But no, I'm not asked to do a lot of
Is it
things.
expected?
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't say that they're expecting me to do anything for free by any means. Like, I just don't think it's a thought a lot of the times. I don't know.
We'll be right back after that. This is becoming Dr. Phil all of a sudden.
It is. Listen, I love my family.
However.
Not however.
What's her name?
And.
Is it Dolores?
And it would be nice to feel supported a little bit. Not by my immediate family. My immediate family is
sure
extended.
So, I will say this. So, in Crazy Rich Asians, whenever at the end of, like towards the end of the movie, whenever they're at the wedding, Astrid, like, breaks up with her husband in the car, like he like storms out, he leaves, and then she calls the grandmother, and the grandmother like escorts her down the aisle, and she's like, "Thank you for like doing this," and the grandmother goes, "Family doesn't say thank you. Like, you should do it because you're there for someone." Like, that's like what. So funny enough, you say this. I did a party for some of my cousins, did all the things. I never got a thank you card, a thank you note, a verbal thank you, like nothing. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that's how it is.
I think sometimes when we're in this industry, people just expect that we're going to
sure.
do the things, right? They expect we're going to show up and we're going to make it a party and we're going to do the things.
But like for the favorite cousin, I will do whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't have to be asked.
Nope.
I don't have to. I will offer.
I don't have to be paid. I don't.
No, nothing.
I will do it.
Turn on the thing, do the backdrop, do the whatever, and fine, great, fantastic, wonderful. Like, happy to do it.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to stop talking about me and my family.
I cannot.
I've been very political about this family situation most of this episode.
I have
now, all
not.
of a sudden.
I have not.
Woo,
I
and
have
Dolores.
Not. So, well, I don't know. Circling back, weddings and funerals bring out the crazy in people. I think that
There's a lot of emotion.
there is, and there was a TV show on Netflix called One Day at a Time. It's with Rita Moreno. She's fabulous. It's fantastic, and there's a Cuban tradition of the mantilla, which is like a veil.
Okay.
And like the bride gets it, they like embroider their names in it, and then it kind of gets passed down to like everyone in the family. Yeah, it's a wonderful little tradition. And so anyways, so the whole episode is with Gloria Estefan. She's an executive producer on it, and they were wondering like who has it, and the whole episode like they're like starting beefs over things that don't matter, and then it turns out the lesbian couple have it. And they're just like, we used it when we got married. Like, what are you, like, I have it. What are you talking about? No, it's crazy. But I think that we love our family.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I love my family.
I love my family too. I would love
to party with my family more.
I would love to party with Aunt Dolores if she would just behave.
Yeah, well, we can't.
Ryan!
What we've learned today is we can't make people behave.
No. So that's it. I think it's all about keeping the peace. Recognizing that you have to party with these people later.
Yes. And finding what you can do versus what they can do. Let everybody play to their strengths.
I agree with that.
Give everybody a job. Even if it's a fake one.
And wow, this is the Texas coming out in me. While these events with family are about control, I think also just being in planning world, it's also maybe a good time for us to relinquish some of that control.
I think so.
So let us know what you think. Are you going to be the party planner? Are you going to take control? Are you going to let Aunt Dolores handle it? What are you going to do?
Yep. Do you want to take control at a family party, or do you want to step back and let other people do it? Are you going to offer people fake decisions to make? I don't know. You tell us.
See you next week.
Party's over.
So, Aunt Dolores, if you can hear this, I'm speaking to you. Oh, God.
We've gone off the rails.
Leave it to me.